Hey, what is up everybody? This is Derek from Game and Skins and welcome to my channel. So I'll be talking about anything related to stock investing, personal finance, money saving tips. So let's dive in. So in this episode, I will be talking about a company that most of you have never heard of. The company is called Amerco, Amerco. Ticker symbol is UHAL. So if you actually pronounce that, it's UHaul. And you can guess it right. You are actually seeing huge amounts of U-Haul trucks all over the place, and that is what the company is associated with. This Amerco is actually a holding company, and U-Haul is actually one of its subsidiaries. So if you're out around the street, U-Haul trucks are everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And you can see that people are actually moving around, bringing stuff here and there, packing up, traveling, and it's the one-stop shop for do-it-yourself moving parts with regards to rental. And this is incredibly convenient company that a lot of people can go to where they can rent a truck, gather their belongings, store it, and bring it to a different location. The one thing that's great about U-Haul is that it has a huge network. It's the largest do-it-yourself rental companies in North America. So U-Haul has about 176,000 trucks, 127,000 trailers, and 41,000 towing devices. This is according to the 2020 annual report. And according to the last quarter report, it stated that U-Haul has also a self-storage business, that consists of 536,000 units of self-storage space. This is where people can just drop off their belongings, and this is where they can store all their junk that they've collected all along, or anything that they would need to store that's away from either from their home or from their business. So Amerco actually has about three types of businesses. It has this do-it-yourself, the moving company, and self-storage business, which is operated under the U-Haul brand umbrella. It also has, surprisingly, an insurance business that deals with property casualty insurance. And lastly, it has a life insurance business. Both of these insurance companies are quite small in terms of the grand scheme of things, but in terms of the property and casualty insurance, it actually is a way for the company to offer insurance for people who rent their trucks. So anything that can go wrong, either in the belongings or the truck itself, it's another option for people to have in case the unexpected happens when they do their move. So I've looked it up where U-Haul, especially the company Amerco, has had quite a tumultuous history. So the current CEO and chairman, known as Shoen, he is the son of the founder of the company, L.S. Shoen. And what has happened is that L.S. Shoen and his wife started this U-Haul trucking business back after World War II, and they were at the right place at the right time. People wanted to move to the suburbs, or they want to set up homes, or they want to start a business. They were the go-to place to actually move stuff. And they have an incredible network that they were able to build in terms of supplying these travel trailers. And they had a lot of merchants that wanted to have that extra income, and they gave a commission. So you would have all these travel trailers, and they would park at these gas stations, and there would probably be the place where people would go and pick up a travel trailer and move their stuff. But unfortunately, like all things in a family business, there could be unfortunate family dynamics. And push comes to shove, Joe Shoen and his brother Mark managed to wrestle away control away from their father, and because they felt like U-Haul was running in the wrong direction, because the father wanted to put all types of different things that undermined the business, and especially moved away from the core of the business, which is actually do-it-yourself sort of rental trucking business. And Joe did not like it at all, so he had the help of his brother, and because of that, lawsuits happened, supposedly murders happened, and and it was terrible. U-Haul actually filed for bankruptcy, Chapter 11 in 2003, but the thing is that it reemerged because of some fancy financial footwork done by Mark Shoen, Joe Shoen's brother, and Joe themselves. So somehow they were able to bring U-Haul back from the ashes and set up this company together. Joe Shoen and Mark, his brother, they own about 43% of U-Haul, which is a huge stake. They operate U-Haul as if it's their own private business. They were able to expand into other business lines such as insurance, such as the life insurance, the real estate part, all which operate under the Amerco umbrella. And they were able to exhibit control and try to make sure that it was stayed to the core of the business, which is the do-it-yourself self-storage. Joe Shoen is actually a very smart person. He graduated with a master's degree, did his thesis on the benefits of self-storage. So you can see why self-storage is playing such a bigger role in terms of U-Haul's operating business. But the major business is the do-it-yourself trucking rental business. The amazing thing about U-Haul is that it's such a ubiquitous brand. It says it itself in terms of in its name, U-Haul. So you yourself are taking control, you yourself are moving your stuff, and that decreases a lot of expenses for the Amerco company. So in terms of what they're just doing is that they're just giving you the truck, letting you use it. You can use it wherever in terms of whatever you want to transport. And the thing is that they have so many locations that you can pick up a van or a truck and drop it off at their many myriad of networks that they have. The interesting thing that I've learned about their last quarter report was that in terms of their writings, that states that in terms of how they increased the usage of their own capital and retaining it, that is the major component of its growth in terms of expansion of its trucking, making sure that the trucks and vans are they're relatively new and updated, as well as the expansion of their self-storage units, which is also terribly important, because if you want a network, you have to keep building that network. And also because of COVID and the low interest rates, they have used debt as a way to also finance their growth as well. And it's in their quarter report that they plan to do that quite ubiquitous, quite increasingly, because debt is so cheap. It's like free money. So like any other company, because money is so cheap, they're borrowing a lot more, and because of the low interest rates, they're using it to fund their growth. And the thing about U-Haul is such a diversified, low maintenance sort of a business where they're not dealing with moving your stuff, or not dealing with packing your things, and you're doing it yourself. And that is a way for them to build their own consumer base and allow them to be in touch with the consumer, because without the consumer letting them know what they want, they could run out of business, because they end up doing it in the wrong sort of ways or something like that. The amazing anecdotes that are written, especially in a Forbes magazine article that was issued in 2016, was that Joe Shoen went on TV and actually gave his phone number. I'm sure you can look it up on the internet and actually find out what his phone number is, and give him a call. Apparently he picks up, and he would deal with your problems. But the interesting thing is that he's such a big proponent, as well as he's so energized and in love with this company. He is doing all that he can in terms of focusing all his energy towards making U-Haul a huge success. He's taking these phone calls in the middle of the night, people complaining that their trucks don't work. And, as he does, he would apologize, and he would, delegate to one of his VPs, or let them know to deal with the problem. And through that, a lot of ideas have come up, like TV boxes, packing material, sort of new components of how the truck should be designed. All that feeds into the head of UHaul, which is Shoen. And Joe, he gives that reminiscent, ideal, almost founder-like energy to the company, because he's on a bi-weekly basis, he's actually going out, foots on the ground, traveling to dealerships, traveling to these UHaul locations, making sure that things are running well. He's not a person who's in an ivory tower looking at things. He's on the ground, wanting to know what the problems are, wanting to know how he can help to make UHaul a better company. And he's in touch. He's not like a trust fund child sort of thing who doesn't know what to do. He's actually on the ground trying to find out the problems. There's another anecdote that talks about Joe where him and a bunch of executives go to a hotel, don't get the beds that they want and it would cause a higher price. So they went to a different hotel because it was a bit lower. And that shows that he is very, very cognizant of how money is being used. And he's quite, almost in a way, frugal to make sure that they aren't, misusing the money that, that is for UHaul's business. Because it's not, he has a very deep ownership sort of feel, because it's also because he owns a huge chunk of the Amerco company. He feels, that ownership part that is terribly important for him to be a custodian of, because his interests are aligned. So that ownership interest is so huge that you as an investor can get in on the action. I would see that the PE multiple is quite low, which is a great way to get into it. So I think that Amerco is actually quite a good investment, a very well protected investment for if you plan to add it to your portfolio. It has an incredible moat. It's the one place that has huge brand recognition, especially with the UHaul subsidiary. In terms of, if you want to go get a rental truck and move some stuff, you go to UHaul. And the great thing is that it has such a big network that you can just pick one up, and if you need to move to a different province or state, then you can just drop it off at the UHaul location. The fantastic thing is that it's run by a person who runs the company and also has a substantial ownership in the company, so his vested interests are aligned with yours. And the thing is that the multiples of this company aren't astronomical. They aren't to the moon. They're actually quite reasonable in terms of making that investment in the stock. And it's well protected as well. So that's it, guys. So if you like, spam that like button, drop a like, leave a comment, and I'll catch you all later in the next video. Peace out, everybody.